Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ronnie George and I am a registered Indian patent agent. So the topic that I am going to present today is step-by-step approach to conduct patent search. So as it is clear from the topic, in this session we are going to discuss the step-by-step process of how to conduct an effective patent search. This session will be useful for IP professionals who are learning to conduct patent searches. This session will also help individual inventors as well as startup and business owners who are planning to file a patent application on their invention and needs to check if there are any relevant patents or prior arts already available. Okay, so let's start with the session. So what is a patent search? Well, a patent search is the process of searching published patents and patent applications. Now what that means is, so there are millions of patent documents available online which are protecting different kinds of invention. So the patent search is a search done to find the relevant patents or patent applications from that millions of patent documents. Okay. Now, why is patent search required? Well, there are different reasons for conducting patent search. Let's check them out one by one. So the first point is to determine whether an invention is patentable. So I have already discussed this in my earlier sessions, the session related to what is patent. So whenever a patent application is filed for an invention, it needs to satisfy three criteria: novelty, inventive step, and industrial applicability. So only when it satisfies this criteria, it will be eligible for a patent grant, right? And how is novelty determined? So novelty as well as inventive step is determined only when there are no relevant patents or prior arts already available before the date of filing the patent application by the applicant. So the patent search is kind of a prior art search, or it can be termed as a subset of a prior art search, which helps in determining if there are any patent applications or patents already available, which discloses the invention which the applicant is planning to file. Okay. Now the second point is to determine whether an invention can be safely released into market. So this kind of a search is popularly known as infringement search. And this is done because, if let's assume that if a company releases a product in the market which is already protected by a patent from someone else or some other company, then in that case, the company which released the product will face a lot of legal issues and, financial risk, because they are infringing the patent owned by the company who has already filed the patent earlier. So in order to avoid that from happening, patent search is usually done, which is known as infringement search, and relevant patents are found out so that the patent infringement can be avoided. And the third point is to find out latest innovations happening in a specific field. So this is very basic. So companies and startups do this in order to find the trend related to a certain technology. So let's say today I want to check what kind of patents are being filed in the field of automobile headlights. So, I can conduct a patent search in that specific field, and I will come across the patent documents that have been filed or that are granted for that specific technology. And this will help me in understanding, okay, what kind of innovations are happening in this field and what is the trend of patent filing in this field. So that is why that is also one of the reasons for which patent search is done. Okay, I think that covers the basics of why a search is to be conducted. Now, let's come back to our main topic of conducting the patent search. So, first question, what is the information required to conduct patent search? Now, the answer to that is detail of invention or subject matter. So that's the only thing one needs to conduct a patent search. Okay. So in case I'm going to file a patent, I'm going to conduct search on maybe, as I said, automobile headlights. So whatever the invention has been done, so I just need to get the information related to that invention or that subject matter. That is the only thing I need to conduct patent search. Now, how would we conduct patent search? Let's see that in the next slide. So the first step in conducting an effective patent search is to completely understand the invention. Now, this might sound like a very obvious point, but it is a very important one as well. So whenever you are planning to conduct a patent search, it's very important to understand the invention thoroughly. Okay. Now, what do I mean by thorough understanding of the invention? So understand everything, Let's say if it's a mechanical invention, so understand, what is the invention? What is the problem it is solving? How is it solving? And what are the elements in it? How are they interacting with each other? How are they functioning? And what is the end result? So gain as much knowledge as possible about the invention as you can for conducting an effective patent search. The second point, determine the novel features of an invention. Now what that means is, if an inventor is describing their invention, a lot of it will be already part of what is known, but then there might be something unique which the inventor has brought, for which the inventor wants to gain protection, right? So that is termed as the novel features or key features of the invention. So it's very important to extract that information from the entire information of the invention. So do anything. I mean, if you are an IP professional who is going to conduct a patent search and you're doing it for a client, sit with the client or have a call with the client. Already I am assuming that you might be having an invention disclosure form which is filled by the client or the inventor. But apart from that, if you still don't understand the invention thoroughly, have a call with him or with the inventor and understand the invention in as much detail as possible. Only then go to the next process of conducting search. Now, in order to explain this entire process of conducting search, will be taking an example. So the entire process will be much clearer to you with respect to the example. So in this case, I have taken an example of a wind turbine de-icing system. Okay, I'll just explain what it is. So what happens in cold countries when wind turbines are arranged, the ice usually gets deposited on the wind turbine plate, and because of that, a lot of problem happens. There is problem in turning of the wind turbine blade, and then measurement error happens. So there are certain drawbacks or certain problems associated with deposition of ice on the wind turbine blades. So because of that, some inventor, let's say, invented a wind turbine de-icing system. Now what happens in this invention is, there are mainly three components. There is a heater, okay, which is arranged inside each blade of the wind turbine. And the function of the heater is to release heated air, okay. Then the second important component of this invention is a blower, which is arranged near to the heater. Now what the blower does is, it blows strong air or strong wind on the path of the heater. So what happens is, the heat which was released by the heater along with this air which is blown by the blower is blown in a specific direction. Okay, and that is the purpose of these two. And then there is also one more component, which is a duct. And what the duct does is, the duct provides the passage, so for the heated air to flow. Thereby, the heated air goes till the tip of the blade, and from there it is released, and in that way the entire ice which is deposited on the fan blade melts down. Okay, so this is an invention. So I hope the detail of the invention is clear. So it's a wind turbine blade de-icing system that uses a heater, a blower and a duct within the blade for heating the blade from inside and melting the ice on plate. Okay, so now this was the first step. Now let's move to the second step. So the second step is identifying keywords and synonyms. Now what are keywords? Keywords are specific key terms that are relevant to an invention and are likely to be present in the specification of a patent document. Okay? So what that means is, when you are reading a patent application, there might be specific terms which are used to describe that invention, and those important terms are referred to as keywords. So in this case, in the same example of the wind turbine de-icing system, if you notice, there are certain terms, without which the invention can't be explained because they are the key terms of the invention. So what are those words? So they are wind turbine. Now it's a very important word in case of this invention. Then a blade is also important because eventually the ice is getting deposited on the blade. Then de-icing or de-ice is also very important because eventually we are talking about removing the ice. Then the three components of the entire system, which is the heater, the blower and duct. So these 6 are the main keywords of this entire invention. Apart from that, obviously there will be many other details included in the patent application or the invention, but then they are not as crucial as these 6 words. Okay. Now, just a tip that I would like to give here is, in case you are facing a problem in identifying keyword, then what you can do is, once you understand the invention, try to explain that invention in your own words by writing a paragraph or writing in a piece of paper. So the moment you write it, you will come across certain words without which you will see that, it is difficult to explain this invention. So in most cases, those words are the key terms or keywords of your invention. Okay. So once you have identified the keyword, there is still half of the thing to do. So this was the, first half of this step. Then the second half of this step is to find synonyms of the invention. Okay. Now what does synonym mean? I think everyone must be knowing that. But synonym is basically a different word for the same, explaining the same meaning. Okay. I think that's a normal definition of it. So in this case, let's check out the synonyms. So if you see, synonym for wind turbine, it can be windmill or wind generator. Then for blade, it can be vane, airfoil, fin, wing, sail. For de-ice, it can be anti-ice, defrost, melt ice, thaw ice. Heater, synonym is warmer. Blower, synonyms are air mover, air blaster, air circulator, air pump. And synonyms for duct is channel, conduit, tube, passage, pipe. So these are some of the keywords, synonyms of, the keywords. There might be other also, so I have just taken a few for the purpose of explaining. Now, understand why synonyms are required. So I'll tell you the basis for it. So basically what we are doing here is we are finding patent documents which is describing the invention for which we are conducting search. So it may be possible. So patent documents are basically written by patent attorneys or patent agents. So it might be very highly possible that if I use wind turbine to, explain wind turbine, some other agent or some other patent attorney might use wind generator to explain the same device, right? And that agent might use wind generator in the entire patent document. So if I am searching the invention restricted to word wind turbine, I might never come across that document, although it's explaining the same invention. But since that attorney or agent has used the term wind generator, I might never find that. Okay, another example would be let's say I am searching for a patent document and I'm using the word vehicle. But another patent agent attorney who has filed the same invention, but instead of using the word vehicle, he or she has used the term car, which is more specific form of a vehicle. So in that case, again, I might miss out that application, right? Even though the invention which I'm finding is the same. So it is very important to consider the synonyms of the keywords and use it in the search so that you don't miss out any relevant patent document. So this was the step 2. Now let's move to the step 3. The step 3 of the conducting patent search is determining patent classification codes. Now, if you don't know what patent classification code is, then I have already uploaded a video on it. I will be putting the button for that video somewhere in this slide. So you can check that video if you are not aware of patent classification codes. Okay, so in general, let me quickly explain. So patent classification codes are like standardized codes that are used to classify and categorize patent documents based on their field or the specific technical subject matter of the invention it discloses. Okay, so this is again a very important step in conducting an effective patent search. So in this case, we have taken CPC codes, which is cooperative patent classification codes. And these are basically, codes where each code or each subcode has includes patents of a restrictive or specific field. Okay, so in this case, if you see the first one, Y02E10/72. So it includes patent applications which fall under the category of wind turbine with rotation axis in wind direction. So if there are any patent applications which is falling under this category will be classified in this code. So you have to find all the possible classification codes with respect to the invention you are doing. Now, how will you do that? So there are two ways of doing that. One is you can go to the hierarchy of the code system. So for example, if you want to check the IPC code, you can go to the WIPO website, which is World Intellectual Property Organization website. And there is a specific tab called classification codes, IPC classification codes, and it's kind of a flow chart. So you can, click and then accordingly you can go deeper and select the classification code of your choice, which is relevant to the invention. The other example is maybe you can at least do a preliminary or a quick search in maybe a Google patent website and find one relevant patent document, and then you can go in that document. So there will be a section of classification codes. So from there also you can get the relevant classification code. So do that. That is the process in the third step of finding the relevant classification codes and listing them for the next step. Okay. So once you have identified the relevant keywords and the classification codes, the next step is to create search strings using the keywords and classification codes. Okay. So key search strings, or it is also sometimes referred as key strings. So they are basically a combination of the keywords, their synonyms, and the classification codes. And this combination is done with the help of Boolean operators as well as truncations, also known as wildcards. So all these terms and classification codes are combined to form a string, which is then later applied on a patent database. Okay, now Boolean operators, what are they? So I think you would have already learned about it in school. So Boolean operators are also used in programming languages. So Boolean operators in this case can be and, or, not, near. So different patent databases may have some minor changes in the Boolean operators, although it remains same in most of the cases. So you can find it as per the database where you are conducting patent searches. Then truncations. The truncation, also known as wildcards, are with symbols or symbols like asterisk mark or maybe double colon or underscore or bracket. So these are used to enhance the search or make a better search string for conducting patent searches. So by using these Boolean operators, truncations, keywords, classification codes, you eventually create a search string. Now let's see some examples of search strings. Yeah, so in the first one, if you see, it's wind turbine or windmill or wind generator. So when you use this kind of a search string, so in that case, any patent document which has any of these words, whether it's wind turbine, windmill or wind generator, if there is any single word from this, that patent will be displayed in the result. Similarly, if we see the second one, where apart from the search string which was already used in the first point, there is also additional blade or vane or airfoil, as well as de-icing, anti-icing, defrost. These are also used by using AND operator. So in such kind of a search, what will happen is a patent reference which includes at least one word from each of these brackets. Only those patent document will be displayed in the result. Okay. And in the last point, instead of de-icing that bracket, we have used classification code of the de-icing. So in this case, again, only those patents document will be displayed in the result which has the words from wind turbine, windmill, wind generator, and one word from blade, vane, airfoil or vane, and this classification code which is mentioned here. So if all these three are matching, then only that result will be displayed. So these are different kinds of search strings, and you have to learn to create these search strings for conducting better patent searches. So this is something which comes by practice. The more and more patent searches you do, the more better you get in doing this. So that was step 4. Now let's check step 5. So step 5 refers to hit search strings and modify based on results. Now what that means is, so we created the search strings in the step 4. So, you have to create multiple search strings, and then you have to use these search strings in a specific patent database. Now, what is a patent database? Well, patent database are websites or tools that provide the option of patent searching and eventually displays patent results. Okay, so they all have an option to conduct patent searches. So you have to use these kind of search strings, and you have to try that. You have to hit that in the patent searching database, and you will find the set of results, and you have to check that results. Now, there is one approach which is a common approach that IB professionals do. So one approach is conducting a broad to narrow search. Now, what that means is, in the first search that you are doing, create a very broad search string. Okay. So in that case, the number of results will be high and it will be a more elaborate search. Then check those results. If there are a lot of results which are irrelevant to you, then, slightly narrow down your results. So you will have to modify the search string, maybe, add or maybe remove some keywords or some classification codes, and then again try that. And then again, another set of results will come, which will be maybe, the number of results will be slightly lower than the first search. And then check that result and see if there are any irrelevant results in that. If there is, then again, you have to modify. So this is a iterative process where you go, you conduct searches or you try different search strings and find out what is the best search result obtained, So that is something you have to do in step 5. Now, what is step 6? Step 6 is review results and select patent references. So eventually, while conducting this step 5, you will come up at a point where the set of results you have obtained will be relevant. So like, let's say it includes maybe 500 patents. And if you go through those 500 patents, you might see that they are, relevant to what you are looking for, relevant to your invention. So once you have obtained that result, that set of result, now you have to take time to review those results, go through those results one by one, not in very detail. You can go over it quickly and see how relevant is, those 500 results. So maybe you will find that even though it's broadly it is somewhat relevant, but if you review it, very specifically, then you might find that it's not that relevant. So while you're doing that, you might come across a lot of patent documents which are still not very relevant to you. So you can keep removing that, and the ones which are relevant to you, you can select, and maybe, you can note down the application number, or you can put it in a work list and keep shortlisting them. Right. So the point says review the set of results obtained in the step 5 and select the relevant results from the set of results. Now, once you have selected the relevant results, you have to consolidate these set of results and prepare a patent search report. So that is how you will conduct an effective patent search. So patent search is more like an art. So the more and more you practice, the more you will get better with time. But make sure that you follow these steps to find relevant patent references. So that was it in this session. We'll meet again for more relevant topics with respect to IPR and patents. Thank you.